Hi. Why do I go deep in my videos? I've been told quite a few times that my videos are very deep, and so I want to go into that subject a little bit. Especially it was a comment on my last video where I was talking about the inner critic, the imposter, and how we could be dealing with that and have a maybe meaningful conversation. And someone responded that it was very deep, but that they also thought that the power is within. Yes, which might be true, but at the same time, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I feel like we live in a time, even more so maybe than before, where there's so many simplified messages, black and white narratives. It's like this, and that's it. For example, the power is within. Yes, there is obviously some truth in it, and this is what this is all about. If you, for example, talk with your inner critic, you might gain a better perspective and more power from within, and might be able to discern which messages you internalized that aren't good for you. But it is an approach that is kind and compassionate and also trauma-informed, I would say. And to tell someone that the power is with them, or within them, if they have been maybe severely emotionally abused, or they are in a situation where the power within is not of much use, where they actually would need somebody advocating for them or really helping them. So what I'm trying to say, I think it is important when we look at an issue to not just look at it from one side and to go deep. We can't afford anymore. We live in a time we can't afford not to go deep. And all these memes that are out there on social media, they really totally and utterly get on my nerves, because it's like as if it's saying people don't think for yourselves anymore and just follow this. Another thing, for example, I find quite dangerous is that put yourself into someone else's shoes. That might be great for someone who's always only thinking about themselves and never sees anyone else's perspective, and who's quite rigid in a way. But for people who have been grown up, and that's many women, to be at service for other people and to look at their needs and what they need, those people need to learn to stay firmly planted in their own shoes and not all of the time put themselves into someone else's shoes and abandon their own perspective or view. And so this is why I really think we need to look at the individual we are dealing with, and if we talk about a subject in general, we need to look at it from different angles, and we need to go deep. And that's why I, for example, really love people like John O'Donoghue, who got very known for his book Anam Cara. And he's unfortunately not alive anymore, but he was one of those teachers, and when you read his stuff, that he was able to go deep, and he would look at things from different angles, and he would not deny the complexity, for example, of our soul. And the complexity can be a beautiful thing, I would say. So I am really angry with any approach that it's not so much the simplifying, but that kind of turns things into black and white stuff and doesn't use all the colors and all the, you could be painting with, to create a whole picture. And I think really we need to train ourselves to to embrace more the paradox. Yes, the power is within us, and there are many things outside of us we can't control, and we need to support each other. If someone is being abused, we need to step up, for example, and help that person. It's quite obvious. We can't just sit there and say the power is within you. And so I really believe we need to be willing to question our own internalized black and white narratives, where we maybe just took in a meme like put yourself into someone else's shoes without even thinking about it, and seeing that there is, yes, it's not that simple. Yes, it's good to see other people's perspectives, and it is vital to stay in your own reality and perspective. At the same time, it's this and that. It's not this or that. So if we want to have a chance to tackle our challenges, whether it's the ones we have inside of us or the ones outside, we need to be willing to go deep and to look at the things from different angles, and not be so keen on the solution all of the time. I think that's the other thing. It's kind of like maybe even like a kind of a laziness. Okay, just tell me what to do. Give me, I'm taking 5 tablets a day and that's it, and then I'm cured. I don't know. And it's a little bit like with these memes like this, have confidence in 10 days, or I don't know. And there's a beauty to depth. There's a beauty to complexity, which doesn't mean I really admire people who can put complex subjects into clear, simple steps. But those people who are really good at it, they don't deny the underlying complexity of it. And I don't trust anyone who just goes, you have to put yourself into someone else's shoes, or who just says the power is within and that's it. I think it's doing a disservice to people. And I want to encourage you to take the time to go deep and to not grasp so much onto the solution immediately, but to be willing to look at a thing from different angles, and to be sitting in the tension of the paradox, because it is much more difficult to sit there and say both is true. We have power within us, and there are many things that are out of our control. Maybe we can create certain things in our lives, and other things we just have to accept. That is much harder than just saying, I can manifest everything, or whatever it is, where it becomes a one-sided narrative. But the magic, at the same time, I would say, is actually in that tension of holding the paradox, and of acknowledging that there's a reason why we have so many emotions, for example, and why not use the whole palette of colors that is given to us, and be wise about it, and see that things have many, many sides to them. And I think there's a huge reward being willing to give the time to go deep. So I'm very curious what you think about this, and whether you sometimes get hung up on these memes and black and white narratives. That was Anja Kersten, life coach and artist. Take good care. Bye-bye.